Hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? Yep, bet you weren't expecting to see me again so soon. Well, get used to it, baby, because I got a lot of yapping to do. And there's something specifically I gotta get off my chest, and it is not so much a theory as it is a prediction, although what more are theories other than just super educated guesses? Regardless, allow me to make yet another educated guess on the future of Kingdom Hearts, where the conversations have all revolved around the Master, the Darknesses, the Foretellers, etc, etc, and whenever it was around Sora, it would typically be paired with one of the things I just mentioned, i.e. is Sora the Master as an example. However, today I want to take a look at exactly what path Sora has to follow in order to emerge victorious on the other end. The new antagonists of the series are the Foretellers as well as the Master of Masters. We're in the big leagues now, hence why I keep saying that Sora, at least strength-wise, is on the same level of the other Masters. He kinda has to be. We're going against multiple Masters who have been Masters for far longer than anyone currently on our side. And even if his friends are his power, it's a power that he learned to accept and make his own. A power that no one else has. And I don't know, I think that speaks volumes in and of itself.
I know the Keyblade didn't choose me, and I don't care. I'm proud to be a small part of something bigger.
Yes!
The people it did choose. My friends, they are my power!
Yes!
But anyways, before I go on a tangent, which I easily could and will eventually at some point to plead my case, I believe that even with Sora, this unique power to connect with others' hearts is gonna have limitations. It's not gonna be quite enough. It was enough for us to make it this far, sure, but as I just said, we're rolling with the big dogs now. And Xehanort was only the first, and he just so happened to utilize the power of darkness, so we kinda got lucky with that one, since we just so happened to utilize the power of light. However, the Foretellers and the Master do not belong to the side of darkness. They belong to the light. And with that being the case, how exactly can we hope to stand a chance at defeating them? Well, my friends, I think that it has consistently been hinted at, especially throughout the entirety of Kingdom Hearts 3. That is, that it very well may be time that we ourselves start to consider what is the raw strength that is the power of darkness. Light has always been used to combat darkness, and vice versa. This much is obvious. So in order to go against beings of light, sure, you can use your own, but at that point I feel like it would be a tug-of-war contest of whose light is stronger than whose. No. The most effective way to combat light would of course be by using its counterpart, the shadow that it casts. The darkness. Now, let me explain. As I've said earlier, this has been secretly and honestly kinda blatantly hinted at in terms of how cryptic Nomura could be at times. Let's have a look at Kingdom Hearts 3 specifically. I use this because this is the title right before and leading up to Kingdom Hearts 4 in the new saga. Of course, Melody of Memory exists, but that really doesn't have anything to do with the Foretellers. More so just how do we find Sora. Getting back to Kingdom Hearts 3, while wrapping up the current story, it also had to begin setting up for the future saga to come. Throughout the game, numerous characters have all hinted at or blatantly told Sora that light could only take you so far, that he would have to call upon the darkness in his heart. The most notable character to do this being Xehanort, which I think is very noteworthy and something we'll have to touch on again later. But for now, let's look at the first instance of Sora being confronted with this conflict, that being in Twilight Town when Sora, Donald, and Goofy are leaving the mansion, and we are confronted by a couple of our old adversaries. When first presented with the question, we see one of the few instances in which Sora is put in a stun lock.
Still so blind. A nobody is what's left behind when one gives his heart to darkness. There is only one way to bring Roxas back, which is for you to give your heart up as well. Sora, have you finally decided to call upon the darkness?
What?
Go on then. The shadows are never out of reach.
I don't find you funny.
This chipper boy who always has a comedic comeback did not have an immediate answer for them this time. In fact, this question, in my opinion, actually forces Sora to think for the first time if darkness is really that bad, as we see him say,
It's not darkness. Not if it helps him.
Of course, this question has been thrown in his face multiple times before this, especially in Dream Drop Distance, but I feel like this is the very first moment where he truly stops to think seriously on what's the difference. Further on down the road in Toy Box, yet again we encounter Xehanort in some form, this time the real Xehanort, albeit the young version. Again, he tells Sora that darkness is the heart's true essence, a phrase in which Ansem had mentioned all the way back in Kingdom Hearts 1, which makes sense when you think about it considering that Ansem was formed after young Xehanort had formulated this thought. But getting back to Xehanort, we again see him pose Sora with the dilemma of how to view darkness, saying,
"What? Your friends are your power? How very true. But if the light of friendship is a form of power, the darkness of being alone is a power even greater. Darkness is the heart's true nature."
Again, we see Sora falter at the question when Woody steps in to redirect the confidence Sora gave him earlier back onto him. Because of course, Xehanort was kinda spitting here. There was no answer for Sora to give. It's just facts. Darkness as a power has always been known to be equal, if not far greater than light. Hence why it is so difficult for anyone to control it without losing themselves. The very rare exceptions, of course, being Riku and Master Xehanort. I'm not gonna cover their backstories because that would warrant a whole discussion in and of itself, but I think we can all agree that these both have respectively both gone through some shit. They did not master control over this power merely overnight. For Riku, it quite literally took over a year of constant battling and struggling with the darkness inside him. And for Xehanort, we can all assume the same. Maybe in a different form or version, but albeit trials and tribulations nonetheless, unlike those who should not be named. This of course would only be confirmed by the Master of Masters and Remind, when he tells young Xehanort, who used to view darkness as the opposition even in Dark Road, that he would have no need to continue doing so, should he keep on the path that he is destined for.
It's funny. Somehow, I can sense where I'm supposed to go, and what I'm supposed to do. Yes. Even this coat. There's something familiar about it. As if I'm meant to wear this.
No. You'll ditch it soon.
What do you mean?
I mean that one day you're going to outgrow it.
How so?
If you truly possess great power, the darkness can't control you. You won't need a silly old coat to stay safe. In fact, you'll be the one controlling the darkness instead. Me, on the other hand, I'm too much of a scaredy cat to ever take mine off.
Again, the Master was not lying. We have literal walking proof right next to Sora. Well, not anymore, but he's in Quadratum too, so I mean, kinda? You get what I'm trying to say. Going back to the point I brought up earlier about how light has been used to combat the darkness and vice versa, I don't mean that in the literal sense, though that be what it is, but I mean that in the sense that whenever one side or the other begins to go out of whack, it is up to the other to reel it back into place. Light and darkness must exist in a balance, which again is what I believe to be the whole overarching narrative of Kingdom Hearts. The entirety of the Xehanort saga was darkness is bad, darkness is evil, light versus the dark, right? But this coming saga is going to be us versus the Master of Masters and the Foretellers, beings of light. And if we look at the Keyblade War, that is a clear-cut case of that. Darkness, aka Master Xehanort and the organization, was running rampant and trying to dictate the destinies of all, and the Guardians of Light had to pull up to put them in check.
But the first light, the light of Kingdom Hearts, it can give us a new start. An empty world, pure and bright.
It wasn't your decision to make.
The world needs someone to stand up and lead. Someone strong, to stop the weak from polluting the world with their endless darkness. Someone to dictate their destiny.
If so, you're not that person, Xehanort.
So what are we to do when Light decides to do the same? AKA, What do we do about the Master and the Foretellers? Of course, as I've said at the beginning of the video, we must use darkness to put the light back in check. And I believe that Sora is and will be used as the catalyst of that exact balance that we need between light and darkness. Someone who, by the end of the Lost Masters arc, will be proficient enough in using both, not just one or the other. Someone who is accepting of all, regardless of which side of the spectrum their origins may lead them. We've actually seen Sora be the Link in multiple instances, being witness to moments where darkness had faltered and shown that it is not the power that dictates the person, but it is up to the person themselves. Riku rebelling against Ansem and beginning on the path to make amends for what he had caused. Naminé, having Sora dead to rights in Castle Oblivion, decides to betray the organization, which led to Sora being able to escape in the first place. Even in that same instance, Axel letting Naminé go to do such, and even sacrificing himself later on in Cage 2 to save Sora. Again, this avenue is explored in Kingdom Hearts 3 with Saïx or Aiza. Seeing these two both up on the clock tower, both on the verge of war, and both on the complete opposite sides of the line, share one last ice cream together, not as enemies, but as bros, and this really puts a perspective on things. I would even argue that Xehanort himself is an example of this, because Xehanort never wanted to wipe light from existence. He wanted to reset the world so that there would be a balance in light and darkness again. He wasn't consumed by darkness so much as he just lost his way.
Legend has it that darkness once covered the world. We know so little about the Keyblade War, only that it was just the beginning. If ruin brings about creation, what then would another Keyblade War bring? When the darkness falls, will we be found worthy of the precious light the legend speaks of?
And just like he had to with Xehanort, Sora is going to have to be the one to keep the light and darkness in check when the Master and the Foretellers try to bully him around Quadratum in Kingdom Hearts 4 and beyond. Again, coming to terms with the fact that darkness in and of itself isn't going anywhere. In a way, Xehanort even could have been preparing Sora this entire time, guiding him to hopefully reach this same conclusion as he had. Darkness quite literally allowed Xehanort to realize his dreams. He just took it too far. And as our characters say themselves, it's not the darkness that's scary, it's what lurks inside of it. But what if what lurks in it is good? I don't know. Food for thought. Anyways, just like all of my videos, the point isn't to be the end-all I cracked the code, but rather just to get a discussion going. So long as I've done that, hey, I've done my part. So what do you guys think about this path? Is Sora finally gonna have to come to terms with the darkness? Who knows? He just barely scraped by not doing it in Kingdom Hearts 3. But again, who knows how far that will take him. But as always, until that moment comes, it's been Vel, I love your faces, and I'll see you when I see you. Later.